Hi, everybody. Welcome to my supplement webinar. This is Dr. Shiroko, and today's webinar is called Supplements, Stop the Confusion. And my aim today is to help you understand what to look for when you are buying supplements. And if you get confused when you look at the list of ingredients on the back of a bottle. So the most important thing for me is really if you're interested in learning how to purchase supplements and which supplements you would want to buy and what would be best to get. Welcome. So I'm Dr. Shiroko. I'm an MD and an acupuncturist, and I own a business called Heart to Heart Medical Center, and I've been the owner since 1993. I blend Chinese and Western medicine, and I've been helping people with supplement for all those years. And it kind of started because I had so many very, very sensitive patients who did not respond well to the wrong kinds of chemicals. So I had to start searching for the right kinds of supplements that didn't cause side effects and that didn't cause reactions in people. And over the years, I've done a lot of research and looked for supplements that didn't bother people and really developed this purity ethic. And I found that ingredients really do matter. This webinar is for you if you want to understand what's going on with supplements and which supplements that you should trust. I want to help you decide what to take and figure out what supplements you might be searching for, and show you how to critically evaluate supplements for their quality. Today, we only have a short time to go over a lot of stuff, so I will tell you how to learn more before we end. Now, why do we take supplements? Mostly, we take supplements in order to feel better. We want to achieve a specific health goal, and we want to keep our health strong. And a lot of times, we're doing preventive medicine, but sometimes we have an illness and we want to avoid taking a medication. We want to feel better. We want to be more fit. We want to have more energy. Things like that. And I'm often asked if, why can't you get all that you need out of the food that you eat? Well, one of the reasons that I recommend supplements is because people are one of the things is that foods don't provide us with all the nutrients that they once did. We are inundated with foods that are GMO, and even when foods are grown in organic soil, the amount of nutrients in the soil is significantly less than it was in the 1940s. People have measured the amount of zinc and iron and minerals in the soil, in organic soil, in an organic farm, and it's like 75% less than it was in the 1940s, even in soil that's been well nourished, like in an organic farm. A lot of times in our culture, we eat the same variety of foods, so you may think that you're getting a lot of variety, but I have a lot of patients who tell me even when they eat organic chicken, they have chicken for lunch, chicken for dinner, because they don't quite know what to eat in order to be healthy. Our variety of foods compared to what other people eat in indigenous cultures. I was at a conference last weekend, and one of the presenters was talking about a young girl, showed a slide of a young girl in Africa, and she was milking a goat. No, she was milking a camel. And the difference between what she's exposed to in her environment and what she eats versus what we eat now. We get mostly, even for those of us who eat healthy or think we're eating paleo, we eat still sort of a small subset of things that are over and over and over again. As I've mentioned before, our soil is depleted. And then I always say for my patients that come in to see me, they're working, 10-hour days, they're driving on the freeway. We are going faster and traveling further and busier than we were in more rural times when there were not so many cities. And so we live at a higher speed, so we need more nutrients in order to survive the way that we live our lives. We also don't go outside as much as we used to or have as much exposure to nature. And we're exposed to toxins every single day. Again, there's lots of controversy about whether supplements are necessary. And there have been studies done showing that, and you've probably seen those studies about whether they're healthy for you or whether they're any preventive medicine at all. And there was one study that studied a bunch of doctors who took Centrum Silver for a number of years. Now, mind you, I said Centrum Silver, and I'm going to go back to what that is and what's in Centrum Silver, and it showed no improvement. There's another study that reviewed 27 studies that showed that supplements have minimal benefit, but the two things that they did improve on a review of 450,000 people, cancer, it showed an improvement with cancer, and it showed an improvement in the immune system. And there are other studies that weren't reviewed in this article that showed that people have improved immune health and decreased cancer from taking just everyday vitamins. And that was a study done in Canada. So I don't know if you would say that supplements are necessary. And one of the things that I teach people is that you have to decide what you need. But the people that I see, they're usually suffering from some kind of a health problem. And they need some support of their body in order to heal from that health problem. And so I find that supplements are necessary to help heal and sometimes to help maintain health. There are, of course, billions of supplements available, and it's very confusing, and which ones you should take are always questionable. So here are the categories of supplements that are available to take. There are vitamins that provide nutritional support. There are certain essential nutrients, such as omega fatty acids. And there are vitamins that we can't really get in food, like vitamin D. And recent research has shown that even if you went outside and you were naked in the middle of a hot, sunny day and exposed to the sun for 2 hours, you wouldn't get enough vitamin D to supply the amount that you need in your body. There are antioxidants, and for those of you who don't know what antioxidants are supplements that, or nutrients that are actually found in some foods, and they help prevent the breakdown of our tissues. So imagine like when you cut an apple and you leave it out on the table for a day, it starts to turn brown, and the brown layers of the apple are oxidized. So that's, as it's starting to break down, it gets oxidized. And antioxidants prevent that sort of thing from happening. And there are specific antioxidants that work in different organs and do specific different things. I'm not going to talk a lot about which antioxidants they are. That I'm going to save that for a future event, but you can learn about them by taking my next class. There are targeted nutritional supplements in more and more companies. I was just at a genetic conference last week, and there are specific supplements that are designed for various genetic issues. There are supplements that are designed to help your mitochondria, and there are supplements that are designed for all kinds of specific issues to help, of course, famously weight loss. Medicine, there are supplements that I call medicine, that are doing something that would be done instead of taking a medication. Like there are supplements that support your blood pressure, and there are supplements that provide you with circulation, that will help heal varicose veins, that will help with asthma, all kinds of different supplements. And then there are herbs, and I practice Chinese medicine, and so I love Chinese herbs, but Chinese herbs are a little bit different than other herbs in the sense that the purpose of herbs in Chinese medicine is to balance energy. And sometimes in Western medicine, we take herbs similar to how we take medications. So we take them for a specific condition in order to correct that. So different support mechanisms. And then there are glandular supplements. And those supplements are made from animal glands, such as ovaries and testes. And again, this is something that's done in Chinese medicine fairly commonly. It is the idea that if you eat something like an organ of an animal, it will help support the organs that you are working on supporting One of the things that I'm very interested in is whether supplements are safe and if they're safe to take. And one of the big controversies is that the FDA does not regulate supplements. And that's probably a good thing because some of what the FDA thinks is good is not necessarily what would actually be good for you. But it is a big source of controversy. And the FDA does have some information available for which supplements might be good and might be a source of value. The NIH, the National Health Institute, has a supplement review checklist and actually provides information about the various supplements and the research that's been done on them. And it's an interesting site. You can find almost every supplement ever made or every ingredient ever made and figure out if there's been research done on it, which is kind of interesting. And one of my very favorite websites is Environmental Working Group. It's an excellent site for information on the ingredients and more. It helps you, there's information on how to eat, what foods to eat, what foods have pesticides and what don't, and what fish has mercury and what the toxins are in seafood and whether they're safe to eat. And it has a huge database on all kinds of things. And now they're actually working on getting a database of canned foods, which ones have BPA in the cans. So it's a really wonderful site to get information on whether you think an ingredient might be dangerous. And then there's another site called consumerlab.com, and that site actually tests various nutritional supplements. And they have a huge database too of which nutritional supplements provide what is actually supposed to be in them. And they provide information about which companies make good supplements, and they will report companies that have drugs in their supplements. There's been some recent weight loss supplements that have actually had drugs in them instead of nutritional supplements. And the links for that are here in these slides, and you can go check it out. One of my favorite things to look is what to look for when buying supplements. And so what to look for when you're buying supplements? Well, first of all, you want to look at the ingredients. And there are two levels of ingredients, which I'm going to explain shortly. You want to find out how they're made or where they're manufactured. You want to look at whether they're food-based or not. And there's a couple of different kinds of food-based supplements. There are supplements that are grown on Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is a form of yeast. And they are fairly low in concentration, so sometimes when you take those, you're not getting as much, but the idea is that they might be more bioavailable. Another problem with Saccharomyces cerevisiae-based supplements is a company called Garden of Life, Mega Foods, and New Chapter are three companies that do this. And when those supplements, if you're sensitive to yeast, because that is a type of yeast, or if you have candida, it's probably not a good idea to take too many of those. There's another type of food-based supplements that are actually made from foods where you take like cherries or blueberries or bell peppers or spinach leaves, and you concentrate the nutrients that are in them and then tablet that. And again, they're fairly low concentration. There's a company called Synergy that makes them out of organic vegetables and vitamins, and they're really high quality. You might not know this, but a lot of chemical supplements are manufactured in like vitamin C, which is in its chemical name is called ascorbic acid. And almost all of the vitamin C manufactured in the United States is made in one lab. And then the companies that make the supplements buy them and buy the raw ingredient and make their supplements from that ingredient. So certain things, when you're looking for like ascorbic acid, as long as it's fairly pure with nothing else added to it, you could probably buy pretty much any ascorbic acid. And then the other thing that I look for in supplements is the research that's been done on that particular product. And there are so many companies, especially professionally based companies, that actually create products based on somebody's research, and then they study it to see, is this product going to help create these results? And of course, those products already have sort of a track record, and they have been proven, and that's a helpful piece of information. As I mentioned before, I'm going to talk a little bit about multivitamins, and there are different types of vitamins. So you can take food-based vitamins, like I said, New Chapter, Garden of Life, Synergy, and Mega Foods are companies that do that. And New Chapter, Garden of Life. And so actually Garden of Life now has two lines. They have one called Raw Code, which is grown on Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So those are yeast-based. But they also have another line of vitamins that are made from food. So they're not grown on yeast. And those are called My Kind, and they're 100% organic. They're a really nice vitamin, but again, low potency. And those are good for people who are really super sensitive to high dose vitamins and just want to boost their vitamin or their support of their nutrition. There are also vitamins that come from drugstores like Centrum and Kirkland, Nature's Way, Trader Joe's. And I know a lot of people have been told by their doctors that you could just get Centrum Silver or the Kirkland multivitamin or even the Kirkland CoQ10 because it doesn't ultimately matter. And I'm going to show you that it really does matter. I think it's important that vitamins be high quality and that they may be made from good ingredients. And then there are vitamins that are professional level vitamins. They are like pure encapsulations, Thorne, metabolic maintenance, standard process, etc. Those are nutrients that have been often tested in their labs and have a lot of documentation behind them. The thing that I want to teach you about is the ingredients, and not all ingredients are created equal. And there are two things I look at. I look at the main list of ingredients, like what's in it, and then I also look at what else is in the supplement. Here are a list of possible additives on nutritional supplements. And I've seen all of these things: food dyes, toxic chemicals. There are poor quality vitamins made in, a lab. There are flow agents. So one of my pet peeves, and yet hard to get rid of, is magnesium stearate. And magnesium stearate is a flow agent that is added to a powder in order to make the supplement pass through the machinery better. And so it makes it run through the machinery. And I always wonder, if you take a large number of supplements and all of them have magnesium stearate, are you really getting your nutrients? And I finally found a study, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, that talks about that. And then there are things that make the tablets hold together, which is why I generally prefer capsules rather than tablets, if possible. And one of my guidelines is, if you can't pronounce it, you should at least look it up. And one of the places you can look it up is at EWG.com, environmentalworkinggroup.com. If you're looking at a list of ingredients and you can't pronounce them, that's what you should do. And here's some examples. This is a list of ingredients in Centrum Silver. And I chose Centrum Silver as an example because it was used in the study that said that there was no proven benefit. So I could probably spend an hour just on this list of ingredients, but I'm going to go through and show you a few of the things that are wrong with this. Well, calcium carbonate is a form of calcium that really is basically from rocks. And so that's a hard form of calcium to absorb into your body. And there's controversy about calcium and using it as a nutritional supplement. And as I mentioned before, ascorbic acid is all made in one location, and here it is in this Centrum Silver. And then there's magnesium oxide, which is a form of magnesium, again, difficult to absorb magnesium. And then here is pre-gelatinized cornstarch. Pre-gelatinized cornstarch. Well, does that sound like a good food? I don't think so. And then modified food starch. Quite often, modified food starch is a gluten-containing supplement. It's usually made from gluten. And then there is cross-povidone, which is a form of iodine. There's boric acid, which is not a nutrient. And then here's some other components: chromium picolinate, cholecalciferol, which is a form of vitamin D. There's cornstarch. And then here, F, D, and C, blue aluminum lake, FD&C red, 40, aluminum lake, FD&C yellow. So those are food colorings that are added to the Centrum Silver. And many people have chemical reactions to those. So that's not good for them. There's folic acid. Folic acid can be toxic for certain people, which has been measured to be even up to 40% of the population. There's gelatin, which is usually made from animal. And so for vegetarians, that might not be good. Then there are some nutrients like hydrogenated palm oil, hypromellose, again, something that isn't pronounceable. There's magnesium stearate, which I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to go back to, and polyethylene glycol. Now, polyethylene glycol is something that I pretty strongly disagree with, and I've researched it, and there's some literature in EWG. If you look it up, it says that it's safe, and of course the FDA says that it's safe, but there's a medication called myristalate, which is a laxative, and it's made from polyethylene glycol. And basically, it is to make you have bowel movements. So first of all, it causes bowel movements, which might become diarrhea, 1. And 2, there's a contaminant that can be in with polyethylene glycol. That's polyethylene. Anyway, it is antifreeze, and that is a contaminant that can be in with polyethylene glycol. And dioxane can also be a contaminant because it's made from petroleum. And both of those, antifreeze and dioxane, are made from petroleum and can be contaminants. So when I see polyethylene glycol in any supplement, I just basically recommend don't take it. There's also polyvinyl alcohol, which is not a good thing for our digestion. And then what I find interesting as I scroll down, sodium benzoate, sodium borate, those are just electrolytes, sodium citrate. And then over here, titanium dioxide. And titanium dioxide is a whitener. So it is a compound that whitens. And again, it's supposed to not be toxic. But they put in yellow dye, blue dye, and red dye, and then they put in a whitener, which just kind of seems ridiculous. So I basically disagree with having unnecessary ingredients. But furthermore, there is maltodextrin, and there's the possibility of putting aluminum. So this has aluminum silicate, which is another flow agent. And there is soy in this product, which can be harmful to some people who are allergic to soy. So overall, after looking at the ingredients on Centrum Silver, you might realize that if somebody took this for years, how could it improve their immune system? How could it have them be more healthy? Because it's not really anything that supports your body. Polyethylene, I have mentioned polyethylene glycol, so I'm going to take it out of the list of ingredients of Centrum Silver and talk about it a little bit. It's added to some supplements, and it's used as a treatment for constipation because it softens the stool and helps intestines absorb water. So if you tend to be constipated, it might be something worth having. But again, there's that possibility that you could have ethylene glycol, which is antifreeze, and you could have dioxane, which is a very toxic chemical that can be a contaminant. And then I did some research because there's a lot of controversy about magnesium stearate. It's in a lot of professional supplements. Some companies make products that I really would just love if they didn't have magnesium stearate in them. It's used as a flow agent, so its purpose is to help the powder that the supplement is made from travel through the machinery. But I have some patients, and I have people who come into me who are taking up to 20 supplements. And if each and every one of them has magnesium stearate in it, it kind of concerns me. It seems to me that if it makes it flow through the machinery of a machine, that it might make it flow through the machinery of our bodies. And I think there are some people who might be sensitive to it as well. Too much magnesium can certainly cause toxicity. There was a study published in the Pharmaceutical Technology magazine, which showed that the absorption of a supplement went down from 90% without magnesium stearate to 25% with magnesium stearate when it was added to capsules. And this was done by looking at what happened to a capsule after it was a 20-minute in a solution. So to me, this is pretty strong information. And usually what I say to my patients, because there are some supplements that I can't get anywhere else, or certain nutrients that have a really good medicinal effect. And if they have magnesium stearate as their only problem, then sometimes I will say, okay, let's use this, knowing that it has magnesium stearate, as long as none of the other supplements that you have that in them. But I have, like I said, I tend to try to avoid supplements that have that. I'm going to show you the ingredients on a few other nutrients. This is one of my favorite supplements companies, and it is Metabolic Maintenance, and they make really high quality vitamins. And one of the things about vitamins is that there are many different forms of them as they are manufactured in places where they're made. So like I said, ascorbic acid is something that is manufactured in only one place in the whole United States. And so it is provided to supplement manufacturers, and then they make it into whatever products they make it in. So you notice that that Metabolic Maintenance has ascorbic acid in their 1-a-day multivitamin. But some of the other things, like there's not very much calcium and magnesium in here. Okay, so I'll use vitamin B as an example. So vitamin B6 is, it can be just vitamin B6, or it can be pyridoxal 5-phosphate, which is the active form of vitamin B6. And for people who have trouble processing B vitamins, you want to have the more activated form. Same with folic acid. There are people who have a defect in their ability to process folic acid, or to methylate, which is a detoxification process in the liver. And the folic acid in this particular supplement is called L5-methylfolate. And it is a methylated version of folic acid, which means that if you have that difficulty of detoxifying in your body, then this particular B vitamin will work for you, because it's already set up so that you don't have to detoxify it. So selenium. The selenium can just be selenium phosphate, which is hard to absorb, or it can be L-seleniomethionine, which is then chelated with a amino acid that makes it easier to absorb. So all of the nutrients in this multivitamin, it's missing calcium and magnesium, because calcium and magnesium are large molecules. Oh, and I wanted to go over vitamin E. So vitamin E, there are several forms of vitamin E, and the DL-alpha tocopherol is usually not the healthy version, which is what they had in the Centrum Silver. And here it's D-alpha tocopherol, and it is made with mixed tocopherols. And when you look at the research on vitamin E, this form of vitamin E is the one that will not cause a toxic reaction in your body. So it's safer and easier to take. So you're just looking at the difference in ingredients. So even though this vitamin is made in a lab, it is got high quality ingredients. It also has a little bit of betaine hydrochloride. Betaine hydrochloride has 25 milligrams, which allows your body to absorb it in your digestive tract. Betaine hydrochloride is a version of hydrochloric acid, which is what is in your stomach. And if your stomach has a hard time with, if it doesn't make enough acid, or if you take a ton of antacids, then betaine hydrochloride is going to be helpful to breaking down the vitamin in your body. The other thing I wanted to point out here is that you notice that there's no iron in this supplement. Iron does not play well. So you want to say iron does not really play well with other children. And there's a lot of, again, iron is one of those supplements that some people need, but it's when it's in its elemental form, the way magnesium oxide and calcium carbonate and ferrous sulfate, which is iron, it's in its elemental form, our body really can't break it down, because our bodies are used to getting things in food, which is already sort of designed for your body to absorb the nutrients from it. So one of the things about iron is that it doesn't get along with other minerals. It doesn't get along with calcium. It doesn't absorb well. And so anytime you have a vitamin that has calcium in it or other nutrients, you don't want to have iron in that vitamin. So if somebody needs iron, I usually recommend a food-based iron like New Chapter or Garden of Life. Or there's a supplement that I just love for iron that is called Floridix, which is a liquid and it's made from herbs. And so it's easier to absorb. It's kind of like eating iron. Imagine that the ferrous sulfate that a lot of people get prescribed is really like chewing on nails, which really just wouldn't be good. Now I'm going to review a food-based multivitamin and just show you the difference. This is from Synergy, which is the organic food. This is not one that is grown on yeast. So it's actually made from food-based ingredients. So it has 120 milligrams of vitamin C, has 2,000 IUs of vitamin D, which is actually pretty high. It has 60 IUs of vitamin E. And you can see all the ingredients. It's actually a pretty decent amount of ingredients. And here is one issue that, again, if you have the methylation problem, this B vitamin wouldn't work for you. The folate is not methylated, so you wouldn't be able to absorb that. And you can see that it has organic barley grass, organic gum acacia, and vegetable tablet coating, which is a wax. So some people who have digestive problems might have a little bit of trouble with this vitamin. When I research, I'm just going to take a little break again and see if you have any questions. So one of the questions is about chromium and how much chromium should be in a vitamin. And so chromium, the better form of chromium is in the form of chromium picolinate. It's a mineral that helps balance blood sugar and helps your body recognize insulin. So it's helpful for people who tend to be insulin resistant. And it depends on what your need is. And there are actually ways of measuring what amount of nutrients you have in your body. And the chromium, you can measure that. There's a test called SpectraCell, and you can measure what nutrients are in your cells rather than in your blood. Because if you measure it in your blood, a lot of times the nutrients are so necessary that they're in your blood at a higher level than they would be in your cells. So you can't really tell if you're nutritionally depleted unless you do a special test to measure what's inside of your blood cells. So actually now even normal labs are measuring, the red blood cell levels of zinc and red blood cell levels of magnesium and calcium and things like that. If you did a serum magnesium or serum chromium, you would find it not to be accurate measurement of what's in your blood. So I'm going to go back to my screen share and tell you a little bit more about how I choose supplements. So I wanted to share with you how I research products and what I look for in supplement companies and nutritional supplements so that you're able to do that for yourself. And I spend a decent amount of time on it. It's one of my hobbies, and I always want to find the best. And things are always changing. People are getting better at providing great quality products. So first of all, with herbs, I always look for organic herbs. And it's one of the reasons that I don't use a ton of Chinese herbs. I love Chinese herbs, and I love the whole philosophy of Chinese medicine. But I've had a hard time finding organic Chinese herbs. So in the past and currently still, when I use Chinese herb products, I look for them to be manufactured in the US. And when Chinese herbs are brought into the US, they are tested by the FDA for lead and heavy metals and things like that. So even if they are grown in China, they're tested to make sure they don't have those toxins before they're even allowed into the country. And then the American companies that manufacture the herbs test them again. And so there are several companies that I use because they create fairly high quality products. There was an organic Chinese herbal supplement company, and they disappeared from the internet, so I haven't been able to find them. But you also have to, look for potency. So there's a couple of companies that make pretty good high potency supplements. You want to look for a nutritional supplement company that does not have additives and they use clean ingredients. And there are companies that do that. And I'll name a few at the end of this. And then you want to, if they have products that make certain claims, and when you're a professional, if you're making certain claims, you want to be able to back that up with some research. And so there are companies that provide you with the research. And I always take my individual patient into account, or the individual person. And if you're choosing supplements just for yourself, then you want to take a supplement that is got ingredients that feel good to you. So like I can prescribe something, but I'm not going to know how your body is going to respond to it. And so that has to be taken into account. There are a couple of my favorite companies, and there are certainly more, but these are some of the ones that I really like. Metabolic Maintenance is one company that really does a good job. They don't add anything to their tablets. They use high quality amino acids. I showed you their multivitamin. And they have their bottles in glass, and they really just do a good job on the chemical supplement. They make some really high quality products. I have some patients who are supremely sensitive in the chemical sensitive world, and they do pretty well with these. Tattvas is a company that makes Ayurvedic herbs, and their herbs are organic, and they're also concentrated and really high quality. And they're certified organic by a number of organizations. And here's the link to them. And then Garden of Life is a company that I've mentioned before, and they make food-based vitamins. They make 2 layers of food-based vitamins. They make the raw code, which is grown on yeast. And like I said, there are problems with yeast-based vitamins for some people, but some people just love them. And then another line that they have now that's called My Kind, which is food-based but not grown on yeast. And then there's Pure Encapsulations, which is another company that's been around forever and ever. And they make a large line of vitamins and supplements that don't have any additives at all in the capsules. So now I'm going to talk to you about learning more if you're interested. And one of the things I'm asked very often is, how do I choose what supplements people should want to take? So I'm offering a 3-part webinar series, and I'm going to talk about my 20 supplements that I recommend the most often, and why, and how to choose which product to select and which products I carry. So it's a very special line of supplements that I recommend to a lot of my patients. And I'll talk about the specific conditions that they're for. And I use Chinese medicine, as I've said. So a lot of times I choose supplements based on what it would take to balance a particular organ. So my top 20, I know what organ they help balance, except for the multiple vitamins, which sort of balance everything. I'm going to offer you this event as a special price for the next 48 hours. And I'm also going to offer you a couple of little bonuses. So here's what I'm going to be teaching. It's going to be in 3 parts. And the first part is the basics. So the basic supplements that people would need for just everyday health maintenance. They're not addressing any specific condition. And again, like I said, there's many to choose from, even in the world of high quality supplements. So I'm going to talk about the basics, what I would look for, how much of the different nutrients do you need, and what is the very minimum that you could be taking, so that you're not taking 15 pills in one day. And then what can you get from your diet? And then you'll learn which particular ones I recommend as the basics for most of my patients. In the second webinar, you're going to learn about antioxidants because they're very controversial, and they're also valuable for specific health conditions, but also specific organ support. Like, for example, N-acetylcysteine is a supplement that I just love, and it does some amazing things. It's the precursor for glutathione, and it's an antioxidant, but it addresses the liver specifically because it's the precursor for glutathione, so it helps the body with detoxification. And its side effect, which is one of the best things ever, is that it helps clear mucus. So you may have congestion from a cold or plugged ears from driving up high in a mountain or flying in a plane. And N-acetylcysteine's side effect is that it helps decrease that clogged feeling. So that's just one example of several that I really like. And I'm going to talk about which ones you might want to take, which organs they support, what the controversy is about each one, and how do you choose which ones you should take. And then I'm going to talk about them based on my understanding of Chinese medicine and why I recommend specific ones to different people. So that's number 2. And then the third event is going to be using herbs and how I use herbs and how I think about them. And part of this will be about hormone balance, because there are specific herbs that support specific hormones. And in the Chinese herbal medicine system, a lot of times we prescribe herbs in formulas so that they do a multitude of different things. So when should you do that, and when should you do something different, and how to sort of organize your thinking about which herbs to take for what, and how to support your immune system. I have a real thing about standardized extracts. I think that standardized extracts are kind of like turning herbs into medicine rather than a different way of turning them into medicine. So the way I look at drugs is that drugs are a focused vibration that has a targeted specific action. And herbs, when they're standardized, are like that. They have a targeted specific action. But the reason herbs have been around for millennia is because they have a whole ability to connect with your body and interact with your body and help your body decide what needs to be done. I call them psychic herbs. And so the adaptogens are some of my favorites, and I'm going to teach you what to choose and how to choose it, but also why not to take standardized extracts unless you want a specific certain kind of fact. And then I'm going to teach you about thinking outside the box. So I'm coming close to the end of my webinar, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for attending and listening to my talk. I think the most important thing is that every single one of us is unique, and you want to take supplements and you want to know what's right for you. So when I recommend something to somebody, I am asking them to listen to their body, because if it doesn't agree with you, then you want to take something that will support you in the way that you want it to be supported. So today, if you sign up for my webinar class, the top 20 supplements, I'm going to offer you a special free consultation with me. I'm going to give you a 15-minute free consultation at the end where you can ask me any questions that you like in private. So if you sign up within the next 48 hours, you can have that special discount. And you sign up at DrShirokoLoveMedicine.net, the top 20 supplements for healthy living. So click on this link here and you get taken to the page so you can sign up for the next event. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you soon. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.